had a number of breakthroughs in the case. One of the members of our crowd is a former staff sergeant who used to handle convoy security over in the Middle East. And he sent me some links to some declassified documents which talked about how to do convoy security. And it's pretty interesting, you know, when you look at the convoy security, the opposite of that is doing a hit on the convoy and what they protect against. Now, the one thing that they protect against is being put in the position that Tupac and Suge were put in that night in Las Vegas. So, if you're in charge of security and you allow the CEO of your record label and your number one artist to be put in that position, there's only one of two things that can be true. One of which is that you're completely incompetent, or number two, that you're trying to murder them. And so there can't be any other explanation for why Suge and Tupac were put in that position that night. And turns out also that the cars that are in front, now Suge never allowed somebody to be in front of him before, but that night things were a little bit different. Things were a little bit crazy, and who knows why Suge, we would have to interview him and find out why he actually allowed somebody to be in front of him that night. But what's interesting about that is they actually have, a terminology for it in the military. The people in front are called pace vehicles. Now, when we look at this, the two pace vehicles in this case happen to be driven by Trayvon and by K-Dove. Then you have the girls on one side, and you have Buntree and Neckbone in a car that's to the left in the direct path of the bullets. So you have Frank Alexander right behind Tupac and Suge, and so Frank Alexander clearly is an unwitting participant in this. He's, obviously there's not anything he can do but follow. And so he's blocking them in, not because he's in on it, but because he's just happens to be following. And when we look at the narrative of, Little Half Dead is the shooter, Snoop seems to know what's going to happen. Daz has come out and said that he was supposed to go to Vegas, but Snoop said, no, don't go to Vegas. Don't fuck this up. So there's prior knowledge that something was going to happen in Vegas, and that Daz wasn't supposed to go there to fuck it up. And when you look at who Snoop is cool with, look at the song Pimp Slapped. He talks about reaching out to K-Dove, and he's cool with K-Dove. And so it makes sense. Maybe K-Dove is somehow in on this. The pace vehicle is usually in a Mossad type hit, is usually in on it. Trayvon, we already know, is an actor in the school play. He was the one that whispered into Tupac's ear and got him to go beat up on Orlando Anderson. And so we already know he's an actor in the school play, and he's also one of the pace vehicles in this case. Now, we also look at one of the things that they try and guard against. Usually in a hit like this, there's going to be an area of observation which is elevated. And when you go to that intersection, and I spent an hour there is a parking structure there that is elevated where everything could be seen from that parking structure. So whoever's quarterbacking this has a clear sight to see exactly what's happening. And so the bike cops pull over Tupac and Suge, and when everything's ready and the person that's observing it gives them the all clear, then the hit happens. They're let go. There's enough traffic that's cleared out ahead so that they can escape, and they're holding the traffic from behind, and it's fight night. How could there be so little traffic We've heard all of these stories, and it seemed like that lane on the right is very clear. There's only one way that could happen, and that's people holding up the traffic, probably cops holding up the traffic. And so we start to get a picture that emerges of what happened here. This is a Mossad-type hit. Thank you to our staff sergeant who gave us all this intel. We really appreciate it. And see, the crowd's working. This is your investigation. This is not my investigation. Russell Poole gave us all the tools that we needed to solve this crime. Now we're starting to see the crowd pay off. I want you to share this with your friends. Let's get them all involved. Let's try and figure out who all these people are on that MGM surveillance video. Let's figure out everything that happened in the Death Row Records camp and exactly who was in on it and who wasn't in on it, because we actually have a chance for the crowd to solve this. I'm just an investigative reporter going out on a beat, and I'm cultivating sources. You guys are helping me cultivate those sources, and you guys are helping me follow up on those leads. And we've got quite a few more leads that we're going to be following up on over the next few days. And I appreciate all of you guys. We need to now go through all of that MGM footage and all of the other footage that night. And we need to start looking for LAPD cops that were in on it. We need to look for Compton police. And we need to continue to dig. We need to find documents on the Rampart scandal. So appreciate all you guys. Your work is paying off. Let's continue to crowdsource this investigation. Crowdsourcethenews.com.